right, I'd like to welcome two of our filmmakers here today. Mark Borchardt, who directed the Dundee Project, and Laura Moss, who directed Friday. Come on up.
Let's see, where should we sit? Where are you guys sitting?
You want to sit here, and Laura can sit here?
Laura, where do you want to sit?
Oh, I know.
Okay, does I read from left to right?
So thank you both for coming. I like that it worked out this way, that you two are the ones who showed up for this program, because I noticed when I watched these two films that there's a commonality between the two of them that I never really noticed before, and I'll get to that in a minute, but I'm curious about the genesis of both these projects and how they kind of came about. So Laura, we'll start with you. What do you?
Sure. I was actually doing research for a feature film I'm writing that is set in the 80s in this era of serial killer celebrity, and Ted Bundy is a background character in the film. And I came across this very real tailgate party that erupted across the street from Stark, Florida State Prison, and was fascinated immediately by the imagery that came out of there. Just the unbridled celebration of this execution, and particularly the women that were celebrating were really striking to me. Yeah, so that just felt like a natural backdrop for a short film, and then the natural person to put into that story felt to me like a young woman who looked like one of Bundy's victims. He was pretty particular. They all had a very similar look to them. And that's, I guess, where the idea began.
Cool. And Mark, I know you explained at the beginning of the film kind of like what got you, watching TV and seeing these people. And I'm wondering what was the moment that, inspired you to just kind of take the camera out and go see them?
Well, first of all, thank you, Collin and Eric and everyone for putting on this film festival and audience for coming out here. What's amazing is I could just create a story with a selective group of facts, like saying in the 70s I was very interested in UFOs, and then I found out about this place up in Wisconsin that had an annual event, and I decided to make a film about it, and here we are. All of that's factually true. There were many people interested in UFOs in the 70s. It has nothing to do with the Dundee Project whatsoever, because the greater fact is that I was filming all different kinds of projects, writing all different kinds of scripts, and the Dundee Project would never have come about unless there was extraneous exterior circumstances involved, which has nothing to do with aesthetics, has nothing to do with spiritual conversion about art or anything like that. It was more the economic machinations grinding away. It could have been any number of projects. So that's the real reality of it. I don't mean to have you take out a handkerchief and start weeping, Collin, but that's the real truth.
Well, it's interesting, like I want to talk a little bit about the shooting itself and the production, because another short film you made, Coven, was very visually, specific and specifically designed. I think at one point you said it's every f-stop known to man is in this film, and so, but for the documentary, it's just you're on the fly the whole time. Is there a particular aesthetic that you enjoy more, or experience?
There is no on the fly. It would have been more like Coven would have been on the fly, because you have a lot of people around and you're trying to do this cantankerous lighting with these hot lights, and whereas with the Dundee Project, I had all the time in the world to do whatever I wanted all day in film, because there was never any ultimate goal in mind other than the process itself.
Okay, and it was one day, right? It was just this one day of the filming, or?
It was years of filming, my man.
Oh.
The event is one day a year, an annual event. I would come back year after year and I would just film. I remember one time, because I get depressed in the melancholic afternoon light, I just didn't want to film anymore. That may have been the last time I filmed. I just got really sad and said, I'm done.
Okay. And then Laura, your film, not a lot of people who make short films would, have the courage to do what is essentially a period piece. but I mean, you went right for it, and I'm curious about the production on your film, and what that was like, and trying to sort of recreate the late 1980s.
Yeah, well, so I work as a production designer. That's how I make a living, and I have a lot of I'm very opinionated about period and how it's done, and very cranky, I think, when I feel like it's done poorly. Especially with the 80s, you see a lot of, someone says 1980s, and then out come the Rubik's Cubes, and, there's like these iconic things, side ponytails and neon. And so, it was important to us to do a lot of really meticulous research. My costume designer and my production designer were awesome, and we went down to Stark, Florida. Not only did we interview people who were at the barbecue, we took photographs of pages of every high school yearbook from that, time period that we could get. We went, checked out footage. There's a lot of news footage from the period. So we did have a lot, that benefit, like of a lot of that research.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it. I mean, I share your same qualms with movies that take place in the 80s. I hate when they try to, use the 80s as a punchline, and Friday certainly did not do that. Tell me the actress in it. I'm blanking on her name all of a sudden.
Jordan D. Natale.
Jordan D. Natale. She's amazing. And tell me how you found her.
So my producer found her. My producer, Valerie Steinberg, works in theater, and she goes and sees everything in New York, on and off Broadway. So she saw Jordan in an off-Broadway play called Recall, where she plays a disturbed teenager. And when she read the script, she said, "Jordan's perfect. We have to bring her in." So we did hold auditions. They were mostly people we knew or had been recommended to us. But when Jordan came in, it was pretty obvious that she was the one.
Yeah, and how old is she? What, am I not supposed to ask that? Or?
Well, I'm very shy about saying it because she's an actress, but she's not 16. So, yeah.
But just a lovely performance and just a great presence in the film. I'm really instantly connected to her. And then Mark, you have a really interesting character in your film, UFO Bob. Can you tell me your first experience meeting him? Are we seeing it in the film, or was this?
Collin, in audience, I have no recollection when the first time I met him whatsoever at all. He just wanted to be on camera. I picked up on the vibe. Interestingly enough, there's a number of people that were in the film, and when we were editing, they're not in the film. And so yeah, UFO Bob obviously is kind of like the galvanizing force, the North Star of this project, in editorial terms, when you look back, and probably when I was filming, he really stood out. There was a number of characters, but so anyway, we realized that because of his magnetism on screen, obviously his charisma in life, that this is what was going to work.
Yeah, and one of the things that is interesting about these two films is, like I mentioned earlier, the commonality between the two of them. They're both.
Well, the commonalities, we both came up here on stage.
Yeah.
That's the real commonality.
That's the commonality.
And now you're trying to find that commonality. I wasn't just fall off the banana.
No. No, but I mean, like, they both films are about these gatherings, these like little gatherings of people who are there for a very specific, interesting purpose, whether you agree with it or not. And then both you and the character in your film kind of come away with it, of this feeling of, what just happened, or what did that just happen? So I'm curious, Mark, when you think back on Dundee Project, what are your thoughts on the whole overall experience of it?
I don't think about memories, Collin, so I don't think back, but because you've always been good to me and I like you, I will think back now. It was just a beautiful place away from Milwaukee. I have a colleague that she says that the thought of taking a vacation makes her physically sick, and I agree the same thing. I never have taken one. I probably never will, because there's no purpose to them whatsoever. There's nothing to escape from when you have this up and down roller coaster, ebb and flow of life, man. You're just, wow, man. It's like, even this coffee you gave me is great stuff. Why would I take a vacation? What am I going to run from that cup of coffee, man? You know what I'm saying?
Well, you had quite a roller coaster morning, so.
Right, yeah. Check this out, guys. First of all, going on the Amtrak is totally cool, and so on and so forth. Great way to get from Milwaukee to Chicago. You know, I've got yesterday's New York Times, or the film and the theater reviews come in from New York, so I, year after year, never miss a beat with Friday and Sunday's New York Times. I've also got my journal, obviously my work writing with me, and I'm looking out the window at the landscape, and all of a sudden I just see this car right in front of me like a dream, just being demolished. And what can you say? You're driving a train, you just watch a car get demolished by the train. We stop and say, yeah, the car tried to beat the train, and we just annihilated it. And so we sat there for a couple hours, and so it took 5 hours now to get to Chicago and so forth. But so that was that. And here we are, and my concern, obviously, with Collin is to get back on that train, but I think we're doing well on time and so on and so forth.
I'm glad you're here.
And I'm glad,
so
yeah,
glad you
thank
made
you
it.
for having me, and there's a great way not to answer the question too, so thank you, Collin.
No, seriously, it was like touch and go for a while there. And then your character in your film, what do you have sort of a movie in your head about where she goes from here, or what her experience or her outlook is like?
Well, we shot more
Okay.
than the ending, and decided not to use it. And I think, so I know what happens to her. But I
Can
think,
you tell us?
well, I could. I
No,
won't.
yes, no.
But I think, you know, it seemed clear to me, so when we did the first assembly, of course, we laid out everything we shot the way that we thought it should, you know, we anticipated it would go. And then it seemed clear that the movie ended there. That this was a decision she had to make, and every subsequent decision, however long her life is going to involve weighing people's intentions because of what's happened to her that night. And so it just felt like a really natural place to end the film.
Yeah, I agree. I think I like the ending a lot. Does anybody have any questions? I can't really see you, so you just got, well, I can kind of see you. If you raise your hand if you have any questions. What? Oh, there is a mic there? Okay, sorry. Yeah, there's a mic right here if anybody has any questions. I should have announced that earlier. What? Oh, wasn't there earlier? I can't see.
Hi. Can I ask a question to both directors? Is that okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Laura, both films were amazing. They were all great. I guess my only question, I mean, I have a lot of thoughts on Friday, but I guess a question it would be, it can be really easy for a viewer to come away from Friday with a very anti-male message. I guess I would just ask, what would you say to that?
Well, I think, I don't think of myself as anti-male, but I do think that this experience that she has, it's been striking to me how many women have come up to me after these screenings to tell me that that's an experience that they've had before, that where they thought they were in control of a situation, or that they misunderstood people's intentions and were blindsided by their lack of agency in a situation. So I would say not all men do this to women, but most women have experienced this feeling.
Yeah, yeah. Sure. Cool. I apologize, I forget your name, sir. Mark.
No sweat, I don't even know yours, man. You're like a voice in the dark. What's your name?
It's over there.
Where are you, my man?
He's over here.
Oh, what's your name?
My name's Nick, I should have said that.
What's your name?
Nick.
Nick, Mark, great to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you. I love the film, I love how your personality obviously came through the storytelling. I guess my only question is, why did you not show, or maybe you did show and I didn't realize it, more of the main events of, you know, the actual viewing of the UFOs? I feel like it was building a lot to that, and then we saw some lights, but did you actually show it and it was just underwhelming?
Like that green light that flickers across the screen, that was one of the UFOs and so forth. And then someone, remember this is compiled over years. Yeah, there's, you know, whatever people do or whatever, you know, almost every year something appears, and, you know, so on and so forth. So definitely. But again, to be really forthright is that, you know, we could have made a 40-minute film, a 50-minute film, made a completely different film. I'm just working on a bunch of stuff, so we just did our editing sessions, and then you see what you see because of that. So it's only just one version of many possibilities.
it was cut together very well. I really enjoyed the way it was done.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you both.
All right. And have a good day, too.
Hello.
Hey.
My name is Chris, and I wanted to say I enjoyed both movies very much. They were both very good, so good job. But my question is for Mark. You mentioned that you'd go back and film more year after year. I'm wondering what the time frame, like when you started and when you stopped. A lot of it felt like it was filmed like in the 90s, and I'm wondering how much of that is because it was filmed in the 90s, and how much of that is because it's Wisconsin.
I don't get into humor, so I'm not going to laugh, but it was filmed in the 2000s. I would say like about 2001 to 2008 or 2007, something like that. And again, Chris, the thing that makes me sad is of the passage of time, and what I would do is to each day invest in something that's going to build your life. Just don't have these idiotic experiences like talking with friends at restaurants. And Collin, that is no offense because I'm going to go out to eat with the dude. That's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. But I mean when this becomes habitual and you become acculturated to this idea of just having random experiences, I don't watch TV, I don't do drugs, I don't drink, the internet is only for women and money, that's it. People send me links, that shit goes in the trash can because life is precious. You have to respect everybody. Like there's 8 billion of us. There's some naughty people, obviously, but you have to respect everyone. And just, you have the ability to lay down the template to be a good person, but that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is if you're going to be a musician, a writer, a ballerina, a professional football player or whatever, it would behoove you to invest in yourself so every day when you wake up, you've got something that you've actually earned and can build a life on. If all you do is have a job and just have all this random bullshit experiences, your life will be zero, you know? And if you actually have a heart that beats with an aesthetic instinct, man, I'd be pursuing that like heck on a daily basis.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Oh, you're more than welcome. That felt good.
Hi, my name's Bailey. Both of the films were super awesome. Mark, I'm a huge fan.
And I'm a fan of you. What's your name?
Bailey.
Bailey, Mark,
Yeah.
good to meet you. Sometimes
Nice
I
to
don't
meet
listen.
you. It's okay, yeah, same. I have 2 questions for Mark, actually.
Wait, no. You, Bailey, you gotta have one for Laura. I'm serious. I mean, it could be anything. It could, you know what it could be? It's like, it could be like a compliment, like, you know, just beautiful. See, now I don't have that. sense of
Okay,
humor.
Laura.
Is that your friend
Like-
there? Okay.
Yeah,
What's your friend doing that?
shooting at twilight and the beauty of that, or something like that, or
No,
you know.
actually, okay, I do have a question. What kind of camera did you use? Or lens and camera combination?
I believe we used like old 70s Nikkor lenses. I'm not positive, but we shot on the Alexa, and that was because it was donated to us for free. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really
And then we did a little bit of color correction and a little bit of grain to make it feel a little more period, but we didn't want to go crazy overboard with that. Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, now my 2 questions for you, Mark. 1, do you need help with your next film?
Yeah, again, I have a phone where you'll be texting me and I'll be texting you back.
Wow, that sounds good. And then 2, do you need a ride back to Milwaukee?
Oh, that would be serious.
All
Wait,
right.
how old are you? No, I'm serious. I can't.
You just met my boyfriend Jake.
Okay,
out
gotcha.
there.
Jake,
We'll give you- we can
were
give
you
you a ride
outside
back.
with the glasses?
Yeah.
Well, you'd have to ask Collin because I've got an Amtrak ticket.
Yeah, he does have an Amtrak
Ah,
ticket.
man.
But,
And we
but
have a
wait,
car-
wait
we
a
have a
second,
car
Bailey,
service already,
Bailey. If you really do want to help with the film and you're like not a nutcase, what I mean is like, no, what I mean is this, is that if you're like down for the cause, like you're like actually a productive element, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like square professionals where it contributes to the narrative, absolutely.
Hell yeah. All right, cool.
Well, now, is Nick going to help out?
Jake.
Or Jake? Who's
Oh yeah,
Nick?
of course.
Yeah,
We can invite Nick too.
Yeah, no. This is what I'm saying because we were just filming before I don't know, a day or 2 ago, and it was really cool because there was no distracting elements. Everyone was down for the cause, and if you are serious, like as a professional, wanting to do that and have fun in that, That'd be totally cool.
Hell yeah.
Okay, then
All
we're
right.
square.
Cool.
Thanks so much. I do Q&As for RogerEbert.com, and I always end the Q&As with what's next for you. So if you want to tell us what project you're working on next.
Sure. So the feature that I wrote that is related to the world of this one is called Gordon, and it's a horror comedy about a misdiagnosed sociopath who's trying to be intimate with women without killing them. It's funnier than it sounds. It's basically someone who's diagnosed at age 5 as a sociopath believes he's destined to become a serial killer. He's told that. And when he emerges into the world as an adult for the first time, the world is actually sociopathic and it's trying to conspire to get him to do these things. So it's set in Detroit in the late 80s. And the background is, the timeline is sort of Ted Bundy's upcoming execution.
Excellent. And then Mark, what can you tell us about this project that you're working on? Anything, or do you want to?
Sure.
Okay.
Which is crazy because I never said I was working on a project, but
That's fine.
but no, Collin, it's totally cool because I'm working on a bunch of them.
Okay.
But we'll just mention this one, a feature film about this playwright who actually has a play that's actually entering in the burgeoning throes of production. Then he falls in love with this chick, and he has like one of those people that has a real problem with someone's past, and they got to pay for their sins, and he starts psychologically altering the play. Like, I can't do this thing; it's fake to me now. I gotta, and the actors are freaking out. It's like, man, these people are going to rehearsals. You can't be changing this stuff. And hey, they got it all invested in him, so he can begin to create these changes. And then, kind of like halfway through this chaos, his passion for her begins to, I think he runs into a couple other girls, and it begins to erode. And here he is, like Icarus, way up in the sky, thinking, oh man, he like intellectually sobers up and says, what have I done, man? And has to find a middle ground so he doesn't crash.
Cool. All right. Laura, Mark, thank you so much for coming today. This has been amazing, and thank you all for coming. Don't forget your ballots. We're doing an audience award thing, so just give a little tear or mark or something through whichever title you like the most. And thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thanks guys. Have a really good weekend too, and a good week.